Did you know that there was an app created in like 2020 or 2019 that was like centered on vertically filmed videos?
No.
But they're supposed to be like movie length films. Like but it just busted. Like it straight up failed. No one wanted to subscribe to a platform like that. It was supposed to be for movies.
Huh.
Yeah. And it's like I can see movies have always been in like different formats. I think there's like square ratio movies, but there's not really vertically filmed movies that are successful. Cause like first of all, you're only used to seeing vertical videos on your phone.
Yeah.
So you associate it with your phone, with slop.
I think naturally your eyes don't see in landscape too.
Does it?
Does it not?
I mean, it's kind of strange. Like our eyes do see in landscape, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
I mean, no one looks at things in portrait.
no, but then again, yeah, I was thinking that also. But another thing is that when moving images were getting made, it was also landscape because how exactly do you have an audience that is stacked vertically? They're not. They have to watch it on the big screen in like a car park or like a crowded area horizontally.
Yeah.
So already we associate cinema with the fact that it's gonna be in the format of a large crowd, or at least it's gonna be like in a seated area. It makes the most sense. Yeah, and like if you have a vertical video, obviously anyone who's sitting at the far end of the theater, they're not gonna get a good chance to see as compared to someone in the middle. I mean, there were operas, there were stage plays, all of them are just wide because it just makes the most sense that like the cinema would follow that format. Yeah, but the funny thing is like if you have a book, that's usually in portrait, and if it's more horizontal, it's usually a children's storybook. But it also makes like sense for what is it, landscape books? That can't be the right word. To be taken less seriously. Maybe not less seriously, but it's not usually seen for like biographies or like non-fiction. The standard size is usually in portrait. Not because like a horizontal book can't be taken seriously. It's more that it'll tend to contain pictures. Yeah. And like I was also thinking like a phone is a solo activity. Like watching your screen on a phone is a solo activity. Reading a book is also a solo activity. The only time that maybe you would have two people reading a book would be like a parent and a child. Like maybe I won't put that in. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's literally in the name itself. It's a portrait, so that's usually a person or a face or an object. That's the focus. Versus landscape, so that's like wide. It has to cover the entire scenery. And you miss out so much information if you're only focusing in the center and up. It's a very hierarchical way of a portrait is hierarchical. So when you read information, you tend to want to read it in like from one destination to the other destination. So it goes from like a poster or like an infographic. Your eyes will just tend to go like in one singular space. It doesn't want to deviate too far out. That's why in typography we're taught like don't make your words like don't make a paragraph go like too wavy in a way. Like keep it to a block. If not, the reader's eyes will get strained if they constantly have to jump like here and then here and then here and then here and here and here and here. Whereas if you have a landscape, that's more equal. Everything's spread out. Yeah. Landscapes for pictures, information is for horizontal. That's why books are like that. And posters and infographics.
Were you thinking about that the entire night?
Yeah. Because I was thinking like, who says that a portrait mode video can't be cinematic, but it's inherently not? Because your eyes are used to seeing landscape as a sort of experience. Like the way that we operate in the world. A car window when you're in the driver's seat is landscape. When you're wearing a helmet, it's landscape. We don't fucking do vertical shields on our cars or bike helmets. When you're in the plane, you get a landscape window if you're the pilot, but if you're a passenger, you get a vertical window because that's all the information that you need to the outside world. It's sort of like how the difference between predator animals and prey animals. Prey animals have their eyes tending towards each side because they need to take in information more to protect themselves to attacks. And then for predator animals, they can afford to have their eyes more front facing because they're more used to taking in information in a hierarchical way. Something like that.
Everyone still sees in landscape.
Everyone does still see in landscape. This is so random, but like if you grow vertically, if you grow horizontally, you're also not taken seriously because you're fat. But if you grow vertically, you're just seen as tall and imposing. I'm joking. No, that's not it. Wait. I'm trying to make sense of this. Serious or unserious? I think it's just about information flow. Like for text, if it's just like one letter by one letter by one letter, it's more of a stylistic choice. It's a bit harder to read. Chinese and Japanese traditional texts can be read that way though. And then in Western text, it tends to be just all lateral, not lateral, horizontal and flat. The way that our languages are written also influences our culture and design. Like with Japanese and Chinese artists, they can afford to get away with not being as realistic in their art, but their abstract art tends to be, they tend to get it faster than children in Western countries. And the reason for that might be because of our different alphabets. Because with Chinese characters, you're very used to making like very complicated strokes and memorizing everything in an order. Whereas with the English alphabet, yeah, there tends to be a correct way to go about writing letters, but if you have a different way of writing letters, like you go on A, from A, you go like this instead, you're not wrong because it just looks the same. But with Chinese, I feel like if you arrange the strokes in different ways, you can actually tell that person did it differently. And that's what a lot of people who are first introduced to the Chinese language don't get either. That's why like Japanese and Chinese people are better at drawing anime because they are used to making the kind of strokes that are seen in like alphabet, in their alphabets, the characters. I saw it first on 4chan, like this discussion. I was like, you know what? It's kind of true. And I feel like even with the ornate architecture and mosques and patterns that people in the Middle East create, if their main language is in Arabic, it also tends to look as detailed as their language. Like they focus a lot on complexity and building shapes upon shapes and patterns. Whereas I see the way that like the Roman alphabet, which is what we know to be English today, it's more, they do gravitate towards like trying to recreate reality, like one-to-one. It's not as easy for people in the West to recreate anime. You can always tell that it's someone who's non-Japanese created it. There's like always little tells, like yeah, there's the obvious ones where you have the big eyes, the small nose, the small mouth, but something about it just seems like a copy of someone trying to recreate anime rather than someone who actually really understands what makes it look anime. Even Japanese artists who don't do the cliche anime look and they draw like small eyes or simplistic eyes, you can tell that it still originated from Japan. Like they really grasp a certain kind of like abstraction and appeal. don't know about Russian artists. Cyrillic does look somewhat similar to the Roman alphabet. I think we also tend towards sharp and edgy designs, like designs with edge, when drawing people in Asian countries. This is completely getting away from like the whole portrait and landscape. I'm just like, what is it about how we take in information and how we perceive it? What you concentrating so hard for?